Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and it is September 1st, and so this is the first day of the Monsterathon and I am on Mount Rainier at my favorite campground and I'm very thrilled to be here. I'm already super relaxed. My allergies took 24 hours to go down, but they finally have, so I'm less miserable in that area. And I have started reading The Ancient Magus' Bride, so I'm very happy about that as well. I'm loving it a lot. We also went up to Sunrise today and did a little walking around. Not any serious hiking, but a little walking around. Very easy to socially distance, not many people here. And so I've got some footage of mountain flowers and mountain itself to show you. And I'm also excited to take some of these pictures and go home and paint them. Because I had a lot of fun last week painting a waterfall from a photo I took here last year. So I've only got two things that I'm really planning on reading this week, and that is as much of Ancient Magus' Bride as possible. I've got 9 of the volumes with me, and I would like to get through quite a bit of Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. It comes highly recommended from Angela from the Literature Science Alliance, and I really liked a lot of the books that I've picked up from her channel. Right now I'm gonna go make a sandwich from the cold stuff we have at our campsite and eat it probably while reading some manga. So Ancient Magus' Bride is based mainly on British mythology, according to the author and illustrator. It's about a Japanese girl of, I think, 15, who has had a very difficult life, has been abandoned and pushed from relative to relative, and everybody's made it pretty clear how her magical abilities of being able to, sorry, there's mosquitoes, being able to see magical creatures and attracting magical creatures has caused a lot of trouble for all the people she's been around. So she gets approached by somebody who sells magical creatures and beings at auction, and he says that you can sell yourself to somebody who wants someone with your magical abilities. Does this sound like a terrible idea? Yes, but she's had the kind of upbringing, it's made pretty clear throughout the series. I'm in volume 3 now. Her name's Chise. Chise's background has pretty much set her up to be taken advantage of because she is so desperate for someone to care about her and treat her somewhat decently that she'll settle for less than healthy relationships and will have extreme loyalty towards people who haven't done that much for her. So in this case, she gets bought by the Ancient Magus of the title, who is actually a pretty great person, but quite a mess himself. And so it's all about him teaching her how to use her magic and teaching her about the magical world of the British Isles, which includes Titania and Oberon, as well as silkies and selkies and lots of other really cool creatures. And it's really a lot of really fun and interesting world building, as well as Chise figuring out how to stick up for herself and that she is worthy of things. And there's a dragon eyrie where dragons are raised, and we get to go there with her. And there's some very scary bad guys who like to use nasty magic, and we have to go clear out the nasty miasma type stuff before they can get to it. And it's quite a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying myself quite a bit. day 2. I have plowed through 4 volumes of Ancient Magus Bride. I'm enjoying it a lot. At night I read, I think, about 70% of Devil's Daughter, which is a romance in the Ravenel's series, and I found all but the first of the Ravenel series to be a step above Lisa Kleypas's other works. I like them quite a bit better. Devil in Spring was my favorite. Then I read Chasing Cassandra, and that's my favorite so far, I think, and I'm totally reading them out of order. And this particular one, Devil's Daughter, is about a single mother with, I think, a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old or so, and so I'm really enjoying that aspect. And then this morning I started Pet, and it's a weird one. A very weird one. It starts off, you find out in the first couple of pages that basically they've had a big revolution, and it's set in no particular place in America. Not necessarily like in America, but a place that is basically exactly America, but it doesn't they haven't named it as such. So a revolution has happened wherein the rich people and the conservatives basically have been overthrown and put in jail, or actually jail has been abolished. Now they have rehab only, no other type of jail. And usually I haven't known stories to go so full bore, talking about very specific issues that are in modern day politics, like they'll go after oppression in general, or things that closely mirror them, but the author is straight up listing putting children in cages, denying health care to people, letting companies pollute the water and air to help the economy, police shooting people, very specifically laying out what's going on right now, all summed up in saying there has been a revolution, that all these things, we've gotten rid of the people who did them by putting them into rehab, and now we have taken down all the monuments to, slaveholders, and have put up monuments to the dead, memorials to the people who were killed and oppressed. I thought that was really cool that the author was being so specific about things like that. But that is all in the past of this story. So now it's talking about life after you have overcome all these things. Isn't this now utopia time? And nothing like that could ever happen again, right? Because we've put all these measures in place. And so it looks like what it's going to talk about is about how even once you have deconstructed oppressive systems, evil can worm its way slowly back in. By the way, do you like my shirt? I got it for my birthday, and it is a bunch of cats as Lord of the Rings characters, and I love it very much. Thus far, I am on page 50 or so of Pet, and we have been introduced to Pet, which is a big old scary creature that goes nicely with the Monsterathon, as does the theme of the book, which is that monsters are people who are just nasty and monstrous on the inside, and you can't see them who they are from the outside. And it's all about rooting that out, I think. And so the monstrous looking creature isn't a monster by the definition that this book gives. Also, my family went on a hike today, and I have got 14,000 steps, which is about twice what I normally get in a day. And I got quite a bit of good footage of waterfall and some forest and stuff like that. And we also walked around a little lake, Tipsoo Lake, earlier in the day, and went down to Packwood, which is the closest little town and internet place, because we always forget something. This year it was a toothbrush, so we got a toothbrush, and I got to connect to the internet for 10 minutes or so while we were there. So that was fun. Just a little check-in, see what's happening, and then getting to go back to my news-free space out here. It's day 3. I have finished Devil's Daughter. It was good. Not as good as Chasing Cassandra or Devil in Spring. We went for another hike today, my favorite hike, the hike of many waterfalls. And we had lunch on a bit of a ridge where we could overlook a lake and also see the mountain. Then when we got back, I finished Pet, which is about 184 pages, so it's not very long. It didn't have much of any twists and turns in the plot. It was all pretty much going along in a steady direction, and I kind of like that. It didn't have room to do more than that. And sometimes it's just really nice to have a plot be really steady and expected. It gets into some really dark stuff, not in detail, but could definitely be triggering for people, so I'm going to put stuff down in the description about that. But basically it's about adults especially ignoring when their children tell them something is wrong, and monsters being inside people's families and being really good at denying when allegations are made, and how it kind of takes a whole bunch of people being complacent and ignoring signs in order for abusers to get away with what they do. And unfortunately, that is a thing that really happens a lot. And so it was really dark and depressing. Hopeful in some ways in that it was about figuring out how to combat that, but the fact that it was going on in the first place was really depressing. I'm continuing on with Ancient Magus Bride. We are learning more magic and more about magical creatures, and I really like that. And we've developed the relationship between the Magus and his apprentice, and that's really interesting. And the apprentice is learning to stick up for herself more, which is really good, and so I'm really enjoying that. Hey, so it's now Sunday. I last updated you on Thursday, which was the 3rd. We came home on Friday, so that was a traveling day. It was really tiring. And I didn't really read until nighttime, so I didn't have much to update you on. And then Saturday, I had what felt like dissociation, which hardly ever happens to me, and really bad executive functioning problems. So I couldn't do anything. So that's why I didn't film on Saturday. And today I'm feeling much better. I think it was a transitionary problem where I was adjusting to the change of camping life versus home life, and getting back into my routines was a bit difficult. But today I really have to edit this video, so I need to film this closing out the vlog segment. Basically, I finished the last 2 books of Ancient Magus Bride that I had. There was lots of character development and relationship development, dealing with bad guys development, and something that I really like about Ancient Magus Bride that I don't remember noticing when I was watching the anime as much, more like I just don't remember because it was quite a while ago that I watched it, is that Chise, the main character, because she is a Sleighbegi, which is something that attracts magical creatures and also creates a lot of magical energy and absorbs a lot of it, she has a very fragile body, and when she does too much with magic, she gets super tired and it does damage to her. And that reminded me a lot of living with chronic illness and having to rest and take breaks, and the people who are around her and who care about her are always telling her she needs to tell them when she's tired and she needs to be more careful with her own health and stuff like that. And I really like that aspect. That was really cool. Also, much like a lot of manga that I read and anime that I watch, there was a lot of discussion of doing the right thing even when it's hard, and caring about other people, and if you have helped one person in your life, then you aren't useless, and that was really special. But if you want to read or watch this story, look into trigger warning. Then over the weekend I started reading Hello Stranger, which is another book in the Ravenel series, alongside Devil's Daughter and Chasing Cassandra, and I'm liking it quite a bit. It is about a lady doctor who was the first lady doctor in the UK. This character is set in the same time and is sort of emulating the actual first woman doctor. in the UK, and in the end notes the author likes to put down some of her research and where her ideas for the stories came from. So that's really interesting. I really like it when historical romance authors do that, and I'm enjoying that quite a bit. This lady doctor is quite a tough lady. She has studied self-defense, and one of the ways that she bonds with the hero is him helping her study even more self-defense, so that's pretty cool. And I also read the entirety of the Kiss Quotient. I'll get the cover so that I don't have to plop it up for you. I put the book here so that I could do an Instagram shot with them. They weren't nearly as good when I was actually doing the shots as they are now. So yeah, they just decided the book is part of the furniture, didn't they? They convinced me to lay down on the bed with them this morning and finish the last 100 pages of this book, because I read the first 200 pages last night, stayed up only till 1:30, no, 1:50. It was 1:50, reading this because I just got sucked into it so much. The emotional stuff that the main character is going through because she has autism and is trying to figure out dating life, was really interesting and special to me, and we share a lot of similar insecurities. And while the concept of this book is that the autistic woman is hiring a male escort to teach her how to have sex because she has had trouble exploring that with men she's dated the normal way because they've all been jerks, and that's something that I would never do as a sex-repulsed asexual. Still, a lot of the things that she was going through in her mind and with her sensory sensitivities was very similar to me, and her emotional dealing with people thinking about her differently when they find out she has autism. That was really special to me. And I now have 3,779 total villagers frightened. With the watch along that I did yesterday with Chapter Kate and Kasha and Bookland, and several other people where we watched Gremlins together, that brings me up to that number of villagers scared. That was an experience. I've never done a watch along like that before. It was fun to chat, and it was really fun to have Kasha's running commentary where she gave us trivia and fun facts about the movies, which is something that I do when my family rewatches Lord of the Rings. So that was really fun to see like somebody else doing that for something that's one of their favorite movies. And so that was a very strange horror movie, being something that kind of flipped things from the horror movies that I've like partially seen in the past. I usually don't watch out an entire horror movie, but in a lot of horror movies, the victims will get killed in really interesting and weird and creepy ways, but in this case, it was kind of made for children or teenagers, and so it was the evil monster gremlins who got killed in a lot of interesting and horrifying ways. So that was an interesting, different way of going about things. And it was set at Christmas, which was unfortunate because they kind of used some Christmas songs to be creepy sometimes, and had some creepy moments with some various Christmas paraphernalia. So fortunately, it wasn't that scary of a movie because it was made in the 80s, and basically the bad guys are Furbies on acid. So it wasn't that scary, but it did have its moments. That was good fun. Thank you so much for watching. There are quite a few other readathons also going on now, so I'd love to hear about what you're doing for that. Some people are taking this month off from readathons, which I think is a good idea. I'm kind of doing that in that I have so many books checked out from the library. It's very easy to just mood read, and then if it fits the prompts, it fits, because I've already gone off my TBR for both The Bunker and a comfort read. So I'm kind of just reading whatever I want and then fitting it into the prompts, and then if I have trouble reaching all of them by the end, then I'll have to be a bit more organized. But at the moment, it's pretty easy to check them off. I think my mom's doing the laundry, so this water pump isn't going to turn off anytime soon. Basically, I'd love to know what you've been reading this week and how your reading plans are going this month. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!